So what exactly is the let them theory, and why is everyone calling it life-changing? 2 words that claim to change your life. Let them. But do they actually work? Hello and welcome to my first episode of Wine and a Book, a series where we are going to deep dive into popular books and decide if they are really worth the hype. And a little shout out to Dylan Is in Trouble for the inspiration. He's one of my favorite YouTubers, and this is totally a rendition of A Beer and a Movie. But the goal of this Wine and a Book is to just take most of these books that are going to be very hyped up, and our job is to decide if they are worth that hype. So the very first book that we are going to be talking about is The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. So I have this wine that I randomly picked out at the store probably like 2 years ago, and that is going to be the Oliver Sweet Red Wine. So that is what we are going to be drinking while we deep dive into this book. I still live with my parents, so I definitely do not have any wine glasses. They do not drink. I have a random cup here. I do like ice in my wine, so we will just pour it in. Let you know it's a Wednesday. It is 5 p.m. right now. Pretty good. This wine used to have like a cork at the top, and they actually recently changed it to being a screw top. I like the convenience of it, but now it just feels like a normal cheap red wine, which it is. It's $10, but I felt a little bit bougie when I had to take the cork out. Alright, I'm gonna input my wine there. That way it's somehow in the video. But let's go ahead and go over some couple of questions that we can start out about this book. It is not your headphones. Unfortunately, it is my audio, and we're gonna go ahead and use the let them theory for this. Let the audio be bad. Let me continue editing and not re-record. I hope it's not too bothersome and that you can still enjoy the video. I know it's gonna be annoying. Trust me, it's annoying as I edit the video. I can't believe that my fan was on and it was making noise on my camera, but it happened. The video's done. I really enjoyed the way it turned out, so I hope you stay and watch it. The main way that I heard about this book was definitely through TikTok, as one does. I started getting videos from Mel Robbins herself just popping up on my feed, and she would just speak on some of the topics that this book dives into.
You spend so much time and energy trying to control other people and getting emotionally worked up about things that are beyond your control. You can tap into peace and true control if you let them be themselves. And here's the other thing. If you let them, people will then reveal who they truly are. And when they reveal who they truly are to you, you now know what you can choose next that's right for you. So let them.
There was also just content online on TikTok from other content creators, just normal people who were picking up this book, raving about it, and then actually applying it to their life.
I'm going to tell you something now that is going to change your life forever. There's a theory by Mel Robbins, it's called the let them theory, and ever since I've heard it, it's honestly changed the way I look at everything. And it basically says if people want to do something, let them.
This link right here is one of my favorite books of all time. It has changed my life in so many wonderful ways, especially when it comes to my relationships and relationships with myself, my career. Like, so many things in my life have changed because of this lovely book. And
y'all, I don't never get on Beyonce internet and try to promote something or tell y'all to go buy something, but I'm telling you right now, if you have not got your hands on the Let Them Theory book by Mel Robbins, I promise you, it is the best piece of knowledge that you could pick up
Let them, let them, let them, let.
The next time you feel left out, your friends all go out to brunch together and they don't invite you. Let them. Or maybe the person you're dating doesn't want a commitment. Let them.
I would see them recommend the book, and it really was just that, life-changing. They were going on and on about it and telling everybody it is just the book of the summer. And I wanted to know why. And question number 2, what exactly are they talking about, and how life-changing is it? This book is meant to be like a self-help book, to release the power you give others or situations over your emotions and your life. And the key point is exactly what the book says. Let them. The let them theory will forever change the way you think about relationships, control, and personal power. That is what I got from the Goodreads site where this book is posted. So the goal is to find yourself and take your freedom back, and this book is supposedly supposed to demonstrate how to do that. And then I personally like statistics, so I just wanted to dive into a little bit of the stats on Goodreads. So I'm just going to look them up and let's see where they are currently at. So as of right now, this book has a 4.17 star rating. That is very good. And that has about 101,750,000 ratings at this moment, with 10,545 reviews. That's a lot of people. And honestly, they may continue to grow, so by the time I post this video, these are definitely subject to change. But I mean, it's kind of amazing that they're getting really good feedback from people on this book, and such a high rating. I mean, 4.17 out of 5 stars. That's nearly just a 5 out of 5. And then just to give a little bit of background per Goodreads on Mel Robbins, is that it just says that the book is ranked as a New York Times bestseller, with her being a best-selling author, and it says that she is an Ivy League educated criminal defense attorney and entrepreneur. And it looks like she's done a lot of shows. It says she has tens of millions of viewers nationwide on shows ranging from Dr. Phil, Anderson Cooper, The Today Show, Oprah, The Talk, and honestly there's so much more. So it looks like she's kind of a reputable source to be, you know, giving advice on how to change your life. It looks like she's really talking about it in many different places and people are listening. And then I think one of the final topics or like questions before we dive into the book that I wanted to discuss was what made me pick up the book. And honestly, it's a little bit personal, if I'm going to be honest. I feel like I had such high hopes for the year of 2025, and you know, I still do. We're still early into the year, but I think that this year has not turned out at all the way that I kind of anticipated, and I'm gonna admit, you know, I'm going through some shit in my life. Personally, like with my feelings, I feel very out of control. Sometimes I feel very like lost and alone, and right now I'm kind of working on my own self-discovery to be better. And I think that there are many things that we all go through in life that we give our power to, and maybe honestly not without us fully knowing. We all allow other people to upset us. We ruminate on what we can do better, and we may internalize blame. We have tough times with jobs and schools where we're feeling overwhelmed and very frustrated. I know nursing school, for me, it's very tough. And I found myself lately giving other people or circumstances the power of control over a situation, and it's my own life. And I'm trying to fight an outcome that I know is inevitable. And maybe the answer all along is just to release it and simply let them. And so far from what I've seen, just solely based off of TikToks of Mel Robbins and of other content creators online, it seems like it's simply meant to say, you know, like, let them change your job, let them fire you, let them break up with you. A lot of the answers seems to be just like whatever they're doing, just let them. I definitely think that there is a whole lot more to that, and there kind of has to be if it is a book, as I guarantee you she's not going to just say let them on every single page. So I guess if you're ever stressed over people's opinions, if you've ever held on to toxic relationships, Lord knows I have, or maybe felt like you weren't in control of your own happiness, this book, it claims to have the answer. And it's supposed to teach you how to stop letting other people control your emotions by simply letting them do, what they're gonna do. And I want to find out if it's true. And if something as simple as TikTok says it's life-changing, I feel like I owe it to my overthinking brain to find out for myself if it's true. But going into this book, I had some goals. I had just a couple simple ones, so I'll list them here. The very first one is pretty simple. I just wanted to see if I learned something. Anything new, anything I didn't already know before. A lot of people like to say that self-help books are very repetitive, and I wanted to know if there was anything different that I could possibly gather from this book. And then the second goal that I had that I really wanted to dive into was, is the let them theory the theory to live by? Is it really life-changing? Which falls into my third and honestly last goal. I didn't have that many goals, but the third one was, is it really all that life-changing? Or is it just another TikTok trend that's gonna die out and never resurface again? So those were the three things I had in mind when I started the book. So I currently, sitting here today, have already read the full book, as you probably can tell by all my little annotation tabs. So without further ado, let's go ahead and deep dive into Mel Robbins' The Let Them Theory, and hopefully let our life be changed. Okay, so topic one is my initial impressions, and then there was also in the book a let them and a let me introduction. The introduction for this book was basically just Mel kind of, she's opening the book by giving her personal background on her struggles that she has been facing in her life, how she's been feeling stuck and unmotivated to get things done, and she knows, how to do things to make herself feel better, but she's unable to. She basically talks about a 5-second rule. So it's where you count backwards from 5 to 1, and as soon as you get to 1, you have to get up and just do the task. And she says that the point is to take action before the hesitation can, kick back in. It's supposed to take hold of your focus, and it distracts you from doubting yourself from completing the task. So every now and again, I did decide to try this as I read. Nothing intense, just the countdown when I noticed myself stalling on doing things, especially on getting my homework done. I'll be honest, I forgot about this by the end of the book, but what did stick with me was this. The less that I overthink starting something, the easier it becomes. And, if that part of the book interests you, she has a whole separate book where she does talk more in depth about it, which is called, I believe it's called just the 5-second rule. This one is about the let them theory. So reading further into her introduction, to me, I felt like it didn't really matter, I guess, her background. Her not being like a licensed psychologist or like trained in therapy, because I just felt like her own personal advice and theories were still upheld because she felt so relatable, because she simply is just, one of us, and the struggles in her life that she had to work hard to overcome, and her advice comes from those real life experiences, and sometimes I feel like that matters more than somebody's credentials. And honestly, it was really, really nice to know that a lot of her things that she does say in the book is backed up by research and evidence. She talks to certain doctors and licensed people who are able to verify the evidence that she is stating in her book. But interestingly enough, the let them theory is only the first half, and it has to be followed up with the statement, let me. So when you say let them, it means you're going to rise above the situation, so it gives you a sense of superiority. But then you have to add the let me, and that is your reaction. It is what you actually want to do. So let's say, let them not text me. Let them not text me back. Let me focus on myself and what brings me joy. Let them decide they don't want to be in my life, but let me prioritize the people who do want to be in my life and actually make an effort. Basically, anything that you're saying let them to, you have to follow it up with a let me. That is where your control and power goes to. And honestly, based off of, my life experiences, a lot of these examples may be a little bit personal on what I am internally thinking and the journey that I am going through. Your let them and let me's may look differently based on your own current life situations. It may not even be about a person, it may be about school, it may be about your job or your family or something completely different. A lot of these examples just may be more personal towards me. But, she has a point. And she says you'll have to keep saying it to yourself over and over again. But I think it's beneficial, and so I started saying it to myself, and I'm gonna be honest, it's working so far. Every now and again I forget, but when I do remember, it's like great. It really helps me think clearly on a situation, and I personally think that I am just a nostalgic type of person, and I like to think back maybe about when things were good and when I was happy, and I can maybe tend to forget or not want to think about the bad or the reality of the situation. So when I say let them and when I remember to say let them and let me, I feel like it's helped to remind me of the current state of things and not what my imagination wishes it was. And then her big kind of first topic that she dives into is about managing stress. So Mel kind of makes it pretty clear that stress isn't just about what happens, it's about what we allow ourselves to carry. So saying let them isn't passive, it's a choice not to let someone's behavior ruin your peace. And I am personally so guilty of this, is that I can let a small annoying act of someone else really upset me, and I allow it to kind of like spiral, and this small thing becomes like this bigger thing, and I'll start venting to multiple people about it, and I'll ruminate on the thought for like a while after. And she references this Greek philosopher Epictetus. I'm probably saying that way wrong, but the quote is, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And I think for me personally, it's about learning how to respond differently to certain situations, and that is a fact that will change your life. And so Mel deep dives into what stress does to us with the help of a physician at Harvard Medical School. The doctor's name is Dr. I'm probably gonna again butcher these names, Dr. Aditi. I like that she went into more of like the kind of scientific and medical portion of like what stress does to the brain. So here's a little nerdy inside scoop on the science and medical research that she mentions, if you're interested. But basically, the doctor explains that when we're functioning calmly, we're using the prefrontal cortex of our brain, and that is involved in our planning, in our organizing, and it helps us to think clearly. And then when we're under stress, we switch to the amygdala, and that is where our fight and flight or freeze, center comes into play. And that's when we can make very rash decisions and get very overwhelmed. And so when you're implementing the let them theory, it triggers a pause. It tells your brain, stop, this isn't a threat, this isn't worth spiraling over. It can kind of help you calm down your nervous system from detaching from the situation, and you're able to then, you know, take your power back. In other words, breathe in, breathe out, take a break, walk away, let it go. Okay, and then topic number 2, my ice is probably really loud, but that one is over comparison, friendships, emotional triggers. So a big one is other people's opinions. Probably we all struggle with it. Honestly, I didn't think I did. I didn't realize how much I struggle with this until I read this portion of the book and I really started to reflect. I know who I am, and I hate for others to misinterpret me or not see me the way that I see myself or the way that I present myself. And a lot of the times I tend to over explain or fear that they'll see me as, I don't know, like a bad guy, when I know I'm a good person and I have good intentions. And honestly, in that section of the book, Mel, she says it plain and simple: let them think what they want. And she goes on to say that we all think things throughout our day, whether it's about ourselves or other people, and not all of them are going to be positive. And we all have negative thoughts, even about people that we love. And I wanted to put in some examples to kind of clarify that. So again, personal examples. I love my cat, but when she is begging to eat and clawing at my mirror at 6 a.m., I just think, oh my god, she is so annoying. But I still love her. When your best friend maybe repeats the same story for the 3rd time, it's so annoying, you wish you would just shut up and get over it. Guess what? You still love her. When your dad or maybe your husband, you know, he leaves a mess on the counter, you're irritated because you're a slob. Why are you not picking up after yourself? Guess what? You're still grateful and you still love him. That's what she means when she says that our negative thoughts can exist alongside love. And that just because somebody thinks a negative thought about you doesn't automatically mean that they hate you, or that their opinion even deserves a control in your peace. Let them judge, let them react, let them doubt you, let them question the decisions you are making, and let them be wrong about you. All right, and then she introduces this idea called frame of reference. This is how someone's opinion of you is shaped by their experiences, not just your actions. So their judgment might not even be about you at all. It might be about them. And just because their perspective feels valid to them, it doesn't mean that it needs to override your truth. And a nice little quote for that, part of the frame of reference, she says, "People can only meet you as deeply as they have met themselves. Many people have not gone to therapy, haven't looked at their issues, and they don't want to. Let them." And that kind of tunnels over into the next big topic she goes over, which is dealing with somebody else's emotional reactions. So she goes on about this one, about how a lot of other adults end up suppressing their emotions. You know, because as kids, they were probably told, get over it, stop crying, which trains them to suppress how they feel. They will distract, they will avoid, they will numb the normal human emotions that you are supposed to feel. And you know, people are adults. You cannot control somebody else's emotions. Let them feel what they feel. Let them avoid it. If that's what they're going to do, let them figure it out. Another little quote that I decided to highlight and I wanted to read out loud for you guys was, she says, "You can't let your emotions drive your decisions because they will often stop you from making the right decisions." She says, "This is a hell of a lot more difficult than it seems. It can be devastating to make the right decisions. It can be absolutely heartbreaking to be honest with someone. It can feel like that decision might destroy you from the inside out, especially when it hurts someone you love." There are many things that I have put off in my life because I was afraid of reactions or the unknown. And, you know, change is very scary, and sometimes I can let my emotions drive my decisions to stay or hold on. You know, I've done it in friendships, I've done it in jobs. I did it with this guy I really liked, and I knew the right decision was to leave, but my heart didn't want it. And that's what she means when she says that the right decisions aren't always easy. But I agree with her, and they are necessary for our growth. For me, it was necessary to find myself and what I am meant to be and what I am meant to do. I also like that a little bit more into that section, she uses a deck of card metaphor that did stick with me. In quote, she says, "Some people are always going to have better cards. Let them. Let them have the advantage. Let them have the perfect Instagram life, the job promotion, the relationship. Let me stay focused on what I want." And in summary, she's basically saying, you know, you have to allow yourself the space to be happier, but you can't do it by torturing yourself with what somebody else has, because that's not going to help you get what they have. And if you're going to compare yourself to other people, at least use it as your teacher, is what she recommends. You don't grow by wishing you had somebody else's life. You grow by taking it as inspiration and you act on it. And at this point, we are halfway through the book. I mean, halfway through the book, I've had so many like, oh crap moments that I realize I feel like I am doing my whole life wrong. But that is okay. That is the point of a self-help book. We are learning, we are growing, we are changing, and we're going to be better. I mean, I just think the craziest thing is that it's my life, but I care about how you view me. I mean, like, high key, that's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing that I care more about somebody else's opinion on, you know, on how I live my life, rather than just listening to myself and doing what makes me happy. And honestly, it's not an easy habit to break, but it's one that I'm honestly working on, and I think it's something that we should all work on. And I wanted to just kind of talk about the impact that being halfway through that book had kind of made on me. It so far has been honestly really positive. I've been saying let them when my emotions arise, and it really allows me to process what I feel and not hold on to it. I feel it, I say let them, I let it go, and it's made me a little bit more courageous within myself. I do notice that I have been a little bit more confident and a little bit more sure of how I feel and what I want without really like limiting myself or making myself smaller in order to appease others. I mean, I'm still not perfect. I'm probably still doing a lot of those bad habits of caring about what other people think, but it is a start. And a little fun fact, since we're at this portion of the book, I started posting on TikTok, which is something I was definitely afraid of at first because I had friends who can see what I post. And that is definitely very nerve-wracking, but I'm having fun with it, and I'm not taking it so seriously. If you're interested, I am unapologetically advertising my own TikTok page if you'd like to follow me. And then on a more productive side of the let them theory, I feel like I have been more, you know, centering my own life, which obviously I should be, but I tend to center other people and care more about other people. But I have been more focused on school. I actually outlined this entire YouTube video. I wrote a freaking script. That's how serious I am. And you know what? I'm having a great time because it has helped me find the key points to talk to you about so you can change your life. But moving on a little bit past the halfway point of the book, she goes into your relationships within the let them theory. So she starts off by talking about adult friendships and says that they're hard. They're hard to make, and I agree with her. They are very hard. It is hard when you're not in school and you're not, you know, confined with people to be forced to be friends. And a lot of the times when you have jobs, you are a range of different ages and you're not always going to get along. But she basically talks about there are 3 pillars for friendships. She says there is proximity, timing, and energy. And the biggest thing she said that I was like, what do you mean? She says sometimes it's just not that personal. I don't know about you, but I take everything personally. Maybe I'm dramatic, but to me, it feels like you hate me, you were out to get me, that something I did, something, I don't know, I take it so personally, and this was, I'm not gonna lie, this part of the book made me cry. This was the toughest part of the book to read, and that is honestly the most shocking. I did not think that this part of the book would even affect me. But I think the biggest thing is they are not out to get you, and they do not hate you. So I guess I have a hard time with this. I do. I tend to resent people for not putting in the same effort that I do, and for maybe our friendship, you know, like slipping away. Sometimes nothing goes wrong, or nothing bad even happens. And she basically just says, don't see it, you know, as that such a negative thing. Don't take it personally. She says that you should keep kindness, admiration, and accept that some people are only meant to be around for a stage in your life. And that's a really hard thing for me to accept. I get attached, and I want to keep those people around forever. And it can really hurt me when they don't want the same and our lives don't line up like they used to, and even when it's not somebody else's fault. And then a little part that I underlined in the book about her pillars of friendship is a simple quote. She just says, as people come in and out of your life, let them. Trust the timing. And I feel like this part really affected me a lot when I was reading. I mean, I am a little bit ashamed to admit that I do tend to think badly about my friends when they don't reach out, or when they don't invite me to do something, or maybe they don't text back fast enough. I kind of assume the worst. You know, like I said in the beginning, where they don't like me, or that I'm too mean, or I'm annoying, and they just don't care about me. And I think that this section of the book has allowed me to perceive the situation from a different point of view. It allows me to be a little bit more calm, detached, and have a more thoughtful view on the situation. That it doesn't mean I'm unworthy or unlovable when people don't check in. They just simply don't know. And then I think that this part was really special to me. It's a small little paragraph that I just wanted to read out loud, just because it meant kind of a lot when I was reading it. She says, friendships are not tit for tat. Do not keep score. Reach out because you want to, but don't expect a response. How quickly or how often someone responds is not a sign of how much they care about you. It's more likely an indication of how overwhelmed they may be. Everyone has a ton going on, and 99% of the time, you have no clue what someone else is dealing with. So with friends especially, don't judge when you don't hear them back. Assume good intent. And even if they don't have good intention, let them not text you back. Which goes into our topic number 3, which is primarily about growth, control, and just simply letting go. So if you want good friendships in your life, she says go first. Say hello. Send the text. Invite people out. Make the effort. It empowers you to align yourself with the right people who match who you are. You won't find them if you refuse to interact and stay inside your house and you never go out. If you want it bad enough, you just have to put yourself out there. And this goes back to let them think whatever they want, and maybe, just maybe, they'll think good things. You won't know unless you try. So if you want more friends, you have to try to be friends. You have to invite them out to hang out, even if it makes you nervous. They're probably nervous too. They probably want to be your friend. They're in the same situation as you. It helps if you just make the effort. And this goes into her more control section about making other people, or motivating other people to change. This was a big, very, aha, I see kind of moment for me that crazy. I know. You can't make people do something that they don't want to do. Who knew? I mean, all of us, right? But seriously, you can't make people do something that they don't want to do. It's only gonna build a sense of resentment and a continuous fight for control. And when you make your snide little comments or your huffs and puffs about what you want your friend, partner, or your parent to change, they're gonna see it as a threat. They're gonna see it as like a loss of control. It creates resentment and power struggles. I mean, especially with people that we love. And you just need to learn to let them be. They'll change if they feel like it, but it has to truly be their desire to. I mean, think about if you're doing a certain act and someone is so mad at you for doing that. They're huffing and puffing and they're telling you, stop doing that, stop doing that. You're gonna get irritated at them. You're gonna not wanna stop because why does it bother you so much? You're gonna get irritated at them. It's gonna be a constant back and forth fight. So what Mel says is instead of nagging at them to make a change, model the behavior. Show it, don't tell it. That you can be a good influence by performing the action that you want them to complete. They can learn from seeing you do it and seeing you get positive results. That for the most part, it will make them want to take on the task and feel as if they came up with the idea completely on their own and without being forced to do it and pressured into doing it by you saying something. And she says you can give them an instant reward after they do the task. It'll help them to feel good about completing it, and it'll make them want to seek out those happy moments more. It just encourages them to keep going. And that's not what guilt or frustration is going to do. It's not going to encourage them. And then honestly, this one's another big topic for me, but I already knew that this one was something that I struggle with, is stop rescuing people from their problems and believe in their ability to face it with you just simply being by their side. She says, you can help create an environment for positive change, just give them the chance. And sometimes the best way to help someone grow is to believe that they can, without doing it for them. That is the hardest lesson I have learned, especially recently, is that loving somebody who's avoidant doesn't fix them. If anything, it enables them. And sometimes you just need to let people face the consequences of their own choices. I thought that if I showed up more, if I just forgave everything, if I forgot the bad things, if I poured more love, if I gave endless chances to maintain unconditional love, that it would help. But after reading this section, I realized that maybe I wasn't helping at all. Maybe I was doing more damage than good. Maybe by me forgiving and forgetting and loving them anyways was just showing them that they can run away, that they can hurt me, and they can not be reliable, and you know what? I'ma still be here. You can treat me horribly and I'll still love you, right? It's wrongfully shows them that their actions are okay when they're not. So what I'm getting from this portion of the book that Mel talks about is sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let them face the fallout. Let them sit with what they have done. Let them grow or not. Let them go. And that goes into our next topic, which is our last topic, which is love and self-worth. Stop rescuing and start releasing. And this one is about choosing the love that you deserve, and Mel puts it, again, pretty simply. She says, too often you chase love, or the potential for what you think it could be, and end up compromising on your values. By chasing love, you chase away the deep and meaningful relationship you're worthy of. So stop chasing people who won't commit. Stop prioritizing people who make you feel small. Stop bending your values to accommodate someone who doesn't respect them. Accept the person that they are and believe them when they show it to you. And that you can't keep holding on to a fantasy. If they've hit a deal breaker, face it. Either end it or accept it without resentment. But don't keep begging somebody to be different while losing yourself in the process. Because if they won't change, let them. And then let me choose me. And this is my truth. This is a big one for me. It is painful to love somebody who plays hot and cold, who disappears when you need them the most, who only shows up on their terms. I'm going through it. I feel it. I see it. I'm learning. It's tough, but it's an important lesson to learn. I mean, I deserve good things. I deserve the kind of love that I give to others. I deserve to allow myself the chance of that and believe in my future of opportunities in my dream love to present itself. But I can't find it if I'm holding on to a person who isn't giving that to me. And I can still hold love and I can still care for said person, but I have to hold my boundaries and my own self-love and self-respect higher than their comfort. So saying let them doesn't mean I'm giving up. It means I'm choosing myself, and that is so much more important. So my final review. Did this book change my life? Well, maybe it's just the fact that I turned 25 and my frontal lobe has fully developed, but I think I was meant to read this book right now. So let's recap on the big questions we started with. Is the let them theory really life-changing, or is it just another TikTok trend? My final rating? 5 stars. I mean, this book truly delivered. It was thought-provoking, it was honest, and surprisingly, very personal. It brought up reflections I didn't even know I needed, and I know I'll be coming back and I will be rereading it again in my life, and probably with a new lens each time, depending on what I'm currently going through. Each section can hit at a completely different level. And I think what made it hit so hard is the timing. I read this book during a season of huge transition for me. So, did this book change my life? Drumroll, please. Yes. I mean, yeah. Yes, it changed my life. It's actively shifting how I process situations, how I respond to things that used to make me spiral. And I catch myself saying, let them, let me, in real time. As it's happening, as a trigger is triggering me, I'm able to catch myself, stop it, and just simply say, let them. And it fucking works. I feel way more free. I feel more grounded. I feel more in control of me and not anyone else. I do not believe it's just another simple TikTok trend. I believe that the let them theory is really life-changing. Is it overhyped? Honestly, no. And I feel like even if you have read every self-help book out there, this one, it has something different, something that sticks. So if you haven't read it, I genuinely recommend picking it up. Even if just one chapter resonates, it could be the one that helps you to move forward, into processing, into being life-changing. A lot of these topics were just the basis. If you want a more in-depth and thorough look on this book, you kind of just have to read it for yourself, because it's whatever really resonates with you. I did pull topics from kind of everything she talks about, but I mainly focus on what mattered to me, since this journey was about what made me want to pick up this book. There are going to be different sections that are going to hit you a lot harder than they hit me. So, the question I'm going to leave you with: have you read The Let Them Theory? Was it just hype, or did you find it life-changing? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments, and I want to hear what you think. If you haven't read the book, would you read the book? And now that my ice has melted, we're almost done. I want to end it with, if you want more deep dive book reviews like this one with a wine and a book, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. I plan on doing more of these, maybe with popular book series. If you have any recommendations on type of deep dives you'd like to see, go ahead and leave it in the comments below, and I will definitely take your input into consideration when making another one of these. That is about all I have. This Wine in a Book was about the Let Them theory, a life-changing tool that millions of people can't stop talking about. So thank you for joining. That's all.